Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our last weekly edition of our English Prime News over Adventist television. We begin this news right away with the headlines. The National Assembly, after following with keen attention the call of some Cameroonians in the diaspora in Geneva, Switzerland, mobilizing to disrupt His Excellency President Paul Biya's private visit, have condemned this act and say it is irrelevant and even tribalistic. We'll begin with this press release as we start the news. About 55 shops have been consumed by white flames at the Vok Aktanganambala market in Yaoundé in the early hours of this morning. The activities of the sports and leisure holidays have been inaugurated this July 16, 2021 at the Yaoundé Fandena Gymnasium by the Minister of Sport and Physical Education, Narcisse Moelle Kombi, to help children play there during these holiday periods. If you are just tuning in, this is the 6 p.m. Prime News over Adventist television. We begin this news with a press release from the National Assembly. The National Assembly follows with keen attention the call by some Cameroonians abroad in Geneva, Switzerland, to demonstrate on the occasion of the private stay in that country by the President of the Republic. Some of these calls are tinged with hateful, irrelevant and even tribalist remarks. In that respect, the National Assembly decries and regrets such recurrent defiance against the institution of the Republic and the person who embodies them, His Excellency Paul Biya, who moreover was elected by vast majority of Cameroonians on 7 October 2018. The National Assembly notes that, according to these Cameroonians in the diaspora, who are moreover in the minority, are calling for demonstrations and who commit acts of violence, only the international and not the national opinion counts, and that the solutions to Cameroon's problems are outside and not in Cameroon. Also, the National Assembly condemns such insanity and asserts that the problems of Cameroon are resolved in Cameroon and by Cameroonians. The National Assembly expresses its indignation and vehemently condemns such methods as well as its perpetrators and sponsors lurking in the dark. The National Assembly calls on Cameroonians abroad to be more committed to love their country and uphold its image, and to demonstrate a heightened sense of patriotism instead of serving the personal ambitions of some individuals or the hidden agenda of those who only dream of seeing Cameroon sink into chaos. The National Assembly encourages the responsible diaspora on the one hand and the vast majority of Cameroonians on the other hand to stay alert, united, and to continue to trust the institutions of the Republic and the person who embodies them. This was signed by the House Speaker, Honorable Kavaye Jibri, on July 16, 2012. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, we take now on to our health page, where a press conference was held yesterday, presided by the Minister of Health, Dr. Manawuda Malashi, who in that press conference tried to discuss on measures to reinforce barrier measures and to see how to tackle the third phase of the COVID-19 pandemic that has been claiming more lives in Cameroon and the world at large. Let's have more in the following report. Cameroon and the world at large have taken another turn to fight the third phase of the COVID-19 pandemic that is claiming more lives in the country. The focal point of this workshop, organized by the government and the Ministry of Public Health, chaired by the Minister of Public Health, Dr. Manawuda Malashi, to take concrete steps to fight this pandemic. Thanks to His Excellency President Paul Biya, nurses have been trained to reinforce the health sector as second staff of the health management in this COVID-19 period. The exceptional services are rendered to the public at the detriment of their own good health and life.
It is with good reason that the President of the Republic, His Excellency Paul Biya, paid particular tribute to them for their high sense of sacrifice. It goes without saying that the consideration given by the entire nation to healthcare workers should not only be brandished during major pandemic. This staff is deployed on a daily basis, both during of healthcare and prevention, including vaccinations.
To save lives, there is no need to ignore this third wave of COVID-19, though many no more respect the different barrier measures as highlighted by the Minister of Public Health.
Slacking in the observation of barrier measures, the circulation of new variants, reticence and reluctance of vaccinations, and the permanent threat of the Delta variant already present on the continent. Regarding selecting in the practice of barrier measures, the systematic wearing of protective masks is no longer observed in our streets, in the corridors of some administration, at the market, in bus stations, in church. This is a false impression that wearing a mask is now optional.
This meeting, attended by health officials, is a proof that the government is not a relenting effort to mobilize and reinforce measures for all to get vaccinated against this deadly virus and respect barrier measures. Cameroonians must remain healthy to enable them build a stronger, prosperous and emergent nation by 2035, void of COVID-19. We take you over to the north region of the country where Ousmane Oumarou has been installed as the new regional president of the north region, with a call for him to use his experience to serve and not to be served. The ceremony was presided by the North Regional Governor Abeti Edi in an occasion highly attended by administrative, municipal, religious and traditional rulers. BrigadeAntiSardinard tells us more in the following reports.
After the digestion of the oath-taking ceremony on Thursday, July 15th at the Gariwa High Court, the official installation of the new Regional Council President, Oumarou Ousmane, took place this Friday, July 16th, 2021. During the installation ceremony in the North Region of Cameroon, the North Regional Governor Abate Edi called the newly installed to work selflessly to develop the region. Oumarou Ousmane was challenged to use his rich expertise to work hand in glove with his people towards the development of the region. Oumarou Ousmane takes over from the pioneer Regional Council President Alim Bouka, who was taken by the cold hands of death within few months in office. Considered to be a square peg in the square hole, Oumarou Ousmane is the former Director of General Affairs in the Ministry of Livestock, Fishery and Animal Husbandry. Ready to work for his people who have given him their mandate, the newly installed took over his responsibility with courage and satisfaction to work tirelessly with everyone, not minding their religious, political, cultural background and clan of origin. The installation ceremony brought together administrative, municipal, religious as well as traditional authorities of the region, not leaving out militants and sympathizers of the Cameroon People's Democratic Movement, CPDM. The installation ceremony at the Gariwa Regional Council Hall was chaired by the Governor of the North Region, Abate Edi, personal representative of the head of state.
We remain in the North region where after the ceremony, the installation of Oumarou Ousmane, the North Governor Abeti Edi says his watchword should be peace, love and unity in that part of the country. Let's listen to him in the following excerpts selected by BrigadeAntiSardinard.
The main message here is to be to promote innovative actions, because development is not only to put in place some infrastructure. I urge sons of this region to live together and to promote what we call in French the vivre ensemble. It's important because when we are together, you are strong. when you are alone, it's not good, it's not possible to do anything. So I encourage all of initiative to do all of the best together to promote peace, social cohesion, and innovative development. Thank you.
The Minister of Public Works, Emmanuel Nganu Jomisi, has expressed dissatisfaction with the low pace of work that is ongoing in the new site that is to host services of the Ministry of Public Works. He was speaking July 15 after visiting that site. BrigadeAntiSardinard tells us more in the following report.
At the end of the visit to the construction site of the headquarters building of the Ministry of Public Works on Thursday, July 15th, 2021, the head of this ministerial department, Emmanuel Nganu Jomisi, expressed his dissatisfaction with the pace of progress. In an information note, the communication unit of the Ministry of Public Works indicated that Emmanuel Nganu Jomisi went on Thursday, July 15, 2021 to assess the execution of the construction works of the complex which will house the central services of the ministry. He was accompanied in his exercise by the Secretary of State to the Ministry of Public Works in charge of roads, Amat Njondom, and the competent officials of the Ministry of Public Works. On the site, visitors noted that the current progress of work is 48.09% for deadlines exceeded. A multiplicity of development and leveling tasks related to roads and network are in progress. The shell is completely finished. The heads of the control mission deplored the delay in the execution of the works and payment of accounts. However, he mentioned the prospect of a delivery in January 2022 if the architectural lots are completed. The prospect for completion and conditioned by the readability of orders for architectural lots and more with regard to composite panels and certain walls. The client expressed his dissatisfaction with the rate of progress of works and instructed the replacement of incompetent experts. The Minister of Public Works has also recommended the implementation of a schedule including night works.
Many Cameroonians, especially youths, think that the social media is a platform to get involved into serious relationships. To others, it is a place where heartbreaks and so many unfortunate circumstances and situations can make them go through. Geraldine Nasir tells us more in the following report.
A large majority of people throughout the world own a smartphone and access social media on a daily basis. Social media is an enormous, unpredictable, and inextricable part of life and has been for a very long time. Sites like Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter bring people together, but they can also tear them apart.
Well, I accept social media relationships, but most of the time there's consequences because we're in the 21st century. Social media help us to do so many things. It has happened to me with a lady. It is good because we don't know what the destiny holds for us.
Et ça fait en sorte que nous nous retrouvons dans un chaos total.
Through these platforms, people acquire knowledge, meet new people, and most especially they impact all kinds of relationships, both positively and negatively. The more time an individual spends on social media, the more likely they experience an impact on their overall emotional well-being, thereby affecting their ability to communicate with those they care.
Les réseaux sociaux, pour moi d'abord, je suis un artiste.
The use of social media is very much accepted in our society, but some people use it for negative acts. For example, getting contact with strangers. They should get in contact with those they know.
De vos conversations.
Social media has little to do with relationships and emotions, but the amount of time spent on social media serves as more important variable that has a more direct impact on the quality of the relationships of the users and their overall emotion.
Cette attitude d'utilisation de réseaux sociaux ne sont
There
pas
are
bien.
people who post fake pictures, and if at all one day you get to meet them, You see, something else. For me, this type of relationships should be banned. Social media introducing a very negative phenomenon because many people are using this media negatively today.
Donc vous connaissez, pas avec les inconnus.
In spite of this, it is possible that frequently accessing social media, even for short periods of time, disrupts the free flow of thought that leads to deeper thoughts and personal awareness. While there are risks involved when navigating relationships on social media, there are also ways to ensure that communication stays strong by focusing offline in order to create a solid foundation to fruitful relationships.
Some visually impaired men and women have occupied the streets of Yaoundé and other parts of the country. They are being seen praising songs to God, matching it with their beautiful dancing step, playing musical instrument. It is very important to know that some of them are able to gather crumbs that can lead them to have their daily bread from well-wishers who pass by and donate. Ruth Fongyong, our reporter, took interest in this, visited some of them on the streets of Yaoundé and compiled this report for us. Let's listen to her.
It is very common for one to find groups of blind and visually impaired persons in different streets in our society. It is the case with this group, which has existed for about 13 years in the capital city of Cameroon, Yaoundé. These people met in school, trained themselves, and decided to praise God in streets in order to fend for a living.
The group has existed for about 13 years. We decided to do gospel when we were still in school. We train ourselves during weekends in singing and playing instruments, such as we decided to continue with what we had started while waiting to get jobs.
En attendant, peut-être trouver un boulot. For them to meet, the head of the group informs everyone of the venue.
We fix a meeting point for the morning. When we meet, we do a little prayer. When we begin singing till evening, when we share what we have gotten from well-wishers.
Each and everyone has a task to handle in the group.
In our group, a role is given to each member so everyone knows what he or she is supposed to do when we meet. The person who drums, those who sing and dance, they know themselves, and all of these happen at the same time.
It is true that everybody can sing, dance, or play instruments, but some are gifted in giving special touches.
Je suis guitariste dans le groupe.
I'm a guitarist. I try to accompany with sound created by me. It is true that we learn by listening to others, but while listening, you bring your own contribution. Instead of imitating other people's guitar, style or music, what we listen, I say it is better to add a peculiar touch which comes from the spirit.
Qui provient de mon esprit créateur.
It is important to note that though these people are visually impaired, they are able to take care of their family through the activities they carry out daily.
Some 100 laureates of the 23rd batch of the Adventist University of Cameroon graduated July 15 in a ceremony that ended by swearing. These laureates were reminded of their responsibility as educationists in the society. Stephen Elangwe completes the story.
It was before God and men that these laureates were sworn in this July 15 at the Adventist University of Cameroon. The laureates were informed on the quintessential role their graduation has for the good of the society.
The message is just to tell those laureates that their formation is very good. in the university, not state university, but private university, showing that those formations in the private university are good, recognized by the state, recognized by the world. That means if you have a formation, you have a diploma from this university, you cannot have a problem.
The rector expressed his happiness with this graduating batch.
Yes, as a rector of this university, I'm very proud of our students and all the staff for what has been done for this ceremony. They have worked hard, and I think that we can just thank the Lord for what He has done.
The laureates could not withstand expressing their impressions about their performance this year.
Of the day is just so full of emotions, full of gratitude towards God, towards our family members that encouraged us, and towards our lecturers, especially the supervisor of the Yaoundé branch, Mr. Menge. He really encouraged us, and we are just so happy about our performance and the fact that we are here today. As I have these qualifications to teach, I should be able to transmit what I've learned to the children that I teach, and to be able to capture and make my students my friends.
Made of nurses, theologians, informaticians, educators, this ceremony of the 23rd batch comes at a time when professionals are in great necessity in the country. With passion, therefore, public opinion needs to effectively change due to their roles that they will play as educationists and laureates of the 21st century.
Sports and leisure activities for the third term have been inaugurated this July 16, 2021 at the Fandena Gymnasium, very close to the Omnisport Stadium here in Yaoundé. This site was inaugurated by the Minister of Sport and Physical Education, Professor Narcisse Mwele Kombi. Our reporter Stephen Elangwe says this is meant to occupy youth and kids during this third term holidays. His report.
The inauguration ceremony for sports and leisure holidays this day at the Yaoundé Fandena Gymnasium was chaired by the Minister of Sport and Physical Education, Professor Narcisse Mwele Kombi. In his inauguration speech, the minister was clear about why this gymnasium has been rehabilitated and also why these activities have been launched.
Hier, de promotion des sports de masse.
I came today to inaugurate these activities in line with government's plan to promote sport and recreational activities through the Ministry of Sport and Physical Education. These activities are guided by the law of 11 July 2018 declaring the organization of such activities in Cameroon. We want to encourage this initiative because it is useful to the youth and minors. We have seen children of 3 years of age practicing about 15 sport disciplines. It should be underlined that this does not limit their leisure because talent will also be detected.
These activities that run under the aegis of the Ministry of Sports and Physical Education are aimed at equipping youths and children with different sports abilities as well as boosting some already existing talents.
Since they have opened, this gymnasium for the handball, for the competition of African handball, African Cup of Handball, the coordinator of the gymnasium have decided to open the gymnasium to help children in this holidays period to practice sports. Each child have to choose a sport. But the first week, we have started what we call discover. I don't know if it is the right word, Yes, because every child must discover all the 15 sports.
The Minister of Communication, Rene Emmanuel Sadi, have expressed satisfaction with the components at the Japoma and Bepanda stadiums in Douala, the economic capital of Cameroon. He was speaking during a 2-day visit to the site earmarked to host the 2021 African Nations Cup to take place in Cameroon. Bertrand Teta has details in the following report.
The Japoma and Bepanda stadiums in the nation's economic capital, Douala, are set with arms open to welcome the teams for the 2021 African Nations Cup, poised to begin on January 8, 2022. After several visits from CAF and FIFA inspection teams to assess the level of readiness in the various stadiums, it was therefore the turn of the Minister of Communication, Rene Emmanuel Sadi, who began a 2-day tour to all the stadiums. The Minister of Communication, Rene Emmanuel Sadi, who was accompanied by the Director General of the Cameroon Radio Television, Charles Ndungu, expressed satisfaction with work done on communication components of the Japoma and Bepanda stadiums in Douala. He added that Cameroon is ready to host the best African Nations Cup in recent times. Minister Emmanuel Rene Sadi was shown the communication units of the stadiums with modern equipments to meet up with the test of time. The signals were tested, internet connections on good move, as well as all equipments needed to make the football jamboree a total success in the communication sector. The minister's visit comes just after a joint CAF and FIFA inspection team visited and evaluated football facilities, health structures, hotel services, some recreation facilities, communication services in the country, among others earmarked to play host to the 24th nation's biggest African football tournament from January 8th to February 16th, 2022. At the end of the minister's visit in Douala, it was quite satisfied with the communication components and very optimistic for a memorable 2021 African Cup of Nations that Cameroon will be hosting.
Dear televiewers, it is with that report from Bertrand Teta that we come to the end of our last edition of our weekly English Prime News over Camdis television. But before we go away, here are the major headlines. The National Assembly, after following with keen attention the call of some Cameroonians in the diaspora in Geneva, Switzerland, mobilization to disrupt His Excellency President Paul Biya's private visit, have condemned with this act and say it is irrelevant and even tribalistic. About 55 shops have been consumed by white flames at the Vok Atanganambala market in Yaoundé in the early hours of this morning. The activities of the sports and leisure holidays have been inaugurated this July 16, 2021 at the Yaoundé Fandena Gymnasium by the Minister of Sport and Physical Education, Professor Nassis Mwele Kombi, to help children play there during this holiday period. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. It has been a very wonderful moment throughout the week. Meet Claude Mayo at 8 p.m. with news in the French language. Do not go away. Interesting programs will be yours over Camdis television. Till we meet again next week, same time. Have a blessed weekend.